Namaste. I welcome you all to this 35th session of Gurubodha. On behalf of all of us students, I cordially welcome my Ayurveda teacher, Dr. M.B. Guraja sir, to this class. Namaste, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dhanandan.
To consult him or to get guidance from him, please go to easyayurveda.com/Guru Raja. One of the very common food ingredients which also doubles as medicine, pigeon pea or tur dal, also known as arahar dal. Guru sir, can you please guide through this very interesting ingredient?
See, it's one of the commonest proteins portion of the households in the southern part of India. The protein, which is very easily a common man can afford in a condition like in a country like India, and it is extensively used for food as well as its medicinal properties. And we all know that it's even fresh pods of this fruit, plant is also used as a vegetable. And of course, once after making a process and drying it and halving it into 2.5 that seeds, dicotyledon seeds, they become the tur dal or arhar dal, which is in Sanskrit known as Adhaki, very commonly known and one of the drug from the Shimbi Dhanya Varga. Similar to this, the main chunk protein diet in the northern India is chanaka, that is chana dal. But in southern India, this is the one which is very commonly used, commonest one, and very commonly come across in various preparations. Particularly, it is in form of protein powder. Sometimes it is used to make it a porridge or something like that, or sometimes even the dal prepared out of it, and the sambar, rasam, and everything. This is the one which goes in.
Many of the people, especially the Westerners, when they go for only vegan diet or vegetarian only diet, usually when they switch from a non-vegetarian or mixed diet to vegetarian diet, they usually lack protein. Probably for them, including tur dal would be a strategy to replenish the depleting protein levels, sir.
Definitely. But in Ayurveda, when we come across this protein and all these things in the form of a Shimbi Dhanya, what our acharyas have said, the foremost appreciation or the credit given to Mung dal, that is green gram. So very clearly they said green gram is very good. Lagu and Patya, Supachya and so many terms have been explained. But main understanding what we need to understand is any dravya or a drug, we need to categorize them in the form of whether it is a food or it is a medicine. So any dravya which is rasapradhana, it is always treated as food, and anything which is virya pradhana, which is always treated as aushadha or medicine. But this particularly the adaki or the arhar dal or tur dal falls under the category of ahara dravya, hence it is rasapradhana dravya. But among these Shimbi Dhanyas, Acharya has kept a credit, a higher status to green gram rather than this. But of course, some of them after eating the tur dal, they'll say that they have a bloated belly and these feelings. Similarly, same thing happened with the those who are habituated with the tur dal. If they shift to Mung dal or the green gram, then they also complain the same type of thing. So this always it will be there. Whenever we these Shimbi Dhanya Dravyas, if it is consumed, better to consume along with them some portion of Jiraka or Shunti or something like that. It will definitely Hingu or the Asafoetida. These things will definitely help them to digest the protein particles as well as it avoids the bloating. So this is a very important one. And of course, those who shift from the mixed diet or the non-veg diet to totally vegan diet, these are the one of the important drugs which can be treated as which will going to replace the protein requirement.
Yes, sir. And clearly they have explained Mudga as one of the patyas. So if I remember correctly, Shastika Shali, Mudga cha, Saindava Amalako Yavan. So Shastika type of rice, green gram, amla fruit. So these are told as, to be taken on a daily basis. Another important point that you touched was very interesting was that it all depends. So though green gram is better than the tur dal for a daily use, probably. It also depends on person's diet habits, right, sir? Because you only told that, when we switch from one to the other, tur dal to mung bean or vice versa, there can be little adjustment problems.
Definitely. See, in northern India, if you go, the one of the important dal what they consume is chana dal. It is not the tur dal. So even the southern Indian part is only tur dal. And of course, in northern India and other some part, if you go to it is the mung dal, that is mudga. So entire depending upon the ecoclimatic conditions of the various zones of the India, different type of beans, dicotyledon or proteinaceous materials are used. Of course, this will change according to the need and availability across the world. It will be same everywhere. It may not be a same one. And those who are habituated to a particular type of food, if they suddenly switch over or something like that, then there will be chances of bloating and indigestion and such feelings will be there, because our costa is adjusted in such a way that it will digest the material which is very familiar to that. If something is given extra or something odd, then there will be some adjustment problems in the beginning. Later it will settle down. So in order to improve the digestion portion of these things, which is not consumed on a daily basis, and switch over things you have done, it is better to take some sort of deepana dravyas like jiraka, that is cumin seeds, or ajamoda, or even shunti, such things, deepaka pachikas, then definitely they are going to improve the condition.
Like you told, the Dipana Pachana medicines will always help in better digestion of these protein-rich foods. And can you please compare in terms of qualities the green gram versus the tur dal, sir? On the screen, you can see both.
Almost these tur dal or even the chanakar, that is chana dal, or it may be even the mudga. All of them are very closely placed. Most of them are astringent to sweet in taste. Potency is cold to hot, something like that. But thing is that one which is most lagu and easily digestible is mudga. That is the reason they kept it as comparatively at a higher rate. Somewhat better placed. But when compared to the taste part of it, mudga is somewhat madhura rasa pradhana, whereas adaki is kashaya rasa pradhana. Because of that reason, maybe one we end up with katu vipaka, but the other one may not be in that fashion. So similarly, helps in digestion. That is a one important thing. One which a protein, comparatively a guru in nature, but a protein gets digested easily means that is always the best. So maybe because of that reason, Acharyas have kept Mudga at the top rather than the Tur Dal or Adaki.
Coming to its uses regarding the tur dal or Adaki's uses, those who they want to follow Langana, meaning lightening therapy, or they would want to lose weight, for them it's probably a good source of protein as well, sir.
See, we cannot set up a claim in that fashion. That may not be a right way of claiming. See, there are vegan diet and those are totally vegetarians, and they regularly consume tur dal, but they don't lose their weight because they will be eating many more things along with that. So it may not be helping in Langana therapy. So Langana and Brahmana usually associated with the richness of the drug or the diet what we consume, along with the quantity, rashi, how much we consume. If we consume anything which is even lighter in excess quantity, then also it becomes energy. Ultimately, when it is converted into energy, that energy has to be utilized. If you don't utilize that energy, then definitely that will stay in the body and it won't be helping in any way to cause Langana therapy. So in the way of Langana therapy, it doesn't mean that tur dal if you consume, you will become thinner and you lose your body mass. No, it's not like that. We can say that when comparatively one person who is on a meat diet and one who is taking much guru ahara comparatively, to that it is lighter in nature. Even though it is a protein, but it is among the vegetable origin. So because of that reason, it is comparably lighter or lagu compared to the proteins from the animal origin. That we can say.
Yeah, and its leaves are also used as a probably styptic and also as krimiharasa.
So these type of claims and this uses are there, but most of the time this is not in practice. Some nook corner somewhere there such type of practices are there where people will, because these are very seasonal. It will not be available throughout the year to get the when stop the bleeding and all the things. If you want to have a ready available with you, so these plants will grow in particular season and they'll die. So because of that reason, may not be used in such a large quantity. And of course, when you have a plant, then only you can have a fresh leaves and use it for the purpose. Otherwise, that type of claims will not be some good, because there are good drugs which can be used for stopping the bleeding, like Cypress rotundus, that is Musta, and even Durva. They are comparatively good styptics than compared to this. But of course, activity such like stopping the bleeding, such activity is present in the leaves of Dhal. That can be said.
And I also got hold of a reference where it is used in many different ways. For example, in Tarasamita Trisana, 23rd chapter, he explains for the poisoning, it is used as a dhumapana along with brihati, kantakari, and the leaves of it. So, of course, it's totally a medicinal usage rather than a home remedy. It's leaves find a lot of references. These are found in various samhitas we just collected. Medically speaking, I mean, if it is available to someone, it can definitely be used in various ways, sir.
Definitely. See, when fresh leaves are available, and if you make a decoction out of it and use it, it is no problem. But because the plant is in a very annual type of plant, it won't live for a longer time. Then there is a problem in using it as a generally commonly 365 days a year. But when it is available, definitely it can be made use of it. In stomatitis, any leaves of this nature which is a little bit gummy and even slimy in nature, that can be definitely of help in mouth ulcers and inflammations. And definitely because it is having kashaya rasa in nature predominantly, definitely it helps in that way. And it induces lactation. Of course, this reference is there and it is proven also, because here pigeon pea or the Dhal leaves as well as the powder of the seeds are applied as a poultice on breast to enhance the milk production, and it has some definitive effects in that direction as a galactagogue.
Bhava Prakasha's reference on this Adhaki, it says that Vata Janani. Vata Janani means it increases slightly Vata. That is the mild bloating side effect that it carries, sir?
Yeah, definitely. There is a reason. This is present with all the protein related dicotyledon and what the Shimbi Dhanya Varga materials are there. Almost all of them will have which are things. When compared with all of them, according to Acharya, only green gram, that is the Mudga, is the one which doesn't cause that much of Vata Janana. Otherwise, everything is Vata Janana. All these Vidala Dhanya, what we call it, the dicotyledons, which are Shimbi Kula Dravyas, all of them are in one or the other way, it increases the Vata because of their nature.
Probably Pitta Kafasra Jit, meaning it balances Pitta and Kapha dosha, and also it is like Asrajit, in a way useful in blood detoxification. This probably sums up the medicinal usage of Adhaki, sir?
Definitely. To some extent, it can be utilized in that fashion. But the most striking feature is that it's a Varnya. Adhaki in the form of paste. It may be leaves as well as the powder of the Dhal is applied as a Varnya, and definitely it is going to, that's what usually the besan powder or even the green gram, all these things are used for washing, because they are all in one or the other way help to maintain the Varna.
That is one of the unique ways we use besan powder and Dhal powder, etc. Even for the bathing powder that we prepare, usually these Dhal powders are used as base along with, of course, whatever you want to add, say almond powder, mixture, etc. 50% of this acts as a base, and rest 50% the rose petals, aloe vera, etc. that are used, sir.
Definitely, because this has a very slimy nature. When it comes in contact with water, and when you rub on the surface, the body surface, it creates a very smoothness, and it won't take the essential oil from the body surface. It maintains the essential oils, but takes away the dirt. So that's the reason once you bath with using these type of powders, definitely you will feel rejuvenated.
And I mean, I have tried a lot of these dals as powders and all. So as soon as you apply, the skin becomes like tight, and the wrinkles will go away very efficiently, and also the Varnia effect is always there. So.
Definitely, that's the reason. And even you will feel somewhat rejuvenated and even feel fresh after washing it. Once you apply it for it as a lap or something like that, or you just use it for a bathing powder, after that, then you will feel very smooth the surface area, and it is very good. Feeling is there, and it won't remove the essential oil from the body. It's very, very vital, because Ayurveda very clearly said daily Abhyanga has to be done. Everybody has to do Abhyanga daily, apply oil and take a bath. But unfortunately, we are using only sabun, soap, and that is going to remove the essential oil excessively from the body, and it will going to definitely cause some sort of dryness and even crackling of the skin and even the peeling of skin. It's very common. That's why dandruff and all these things are very, very rich, because we don't apply oil. Without that, we use a lot of soapy materials to clear the essential oils. So when these oils are being taken off from the skin, definitely they become dry. So that should be taken care of. When you use these tur dal powder or mung dal powder or something like that, definitely they will going to support in that way. They will take up only the dirt out of it, and but retains the essential oil in the skin. And that's the reason they are very good in Varnia, as well as they maintain the health of the skin.
It kind of a brainstorming here, like product brainstorming. If you were to prepare a Ayurvedic herbal powder as a bathing powder, of course, we would use something like basin powder as 50%. The rest 50% can be, let's assume, herbal powders. What would you add, sir?
No, if it is for the body, we can add along with this, as I said, Japa Kusuma, flower petals, rose petals, and even to some extent little bit of salt to that, Saindavalamana, and even we add particularly the soap nut powder, Shikakai, to some extent.
So Shikakai is used also for body as well.
Yes, it can be used in a small portion. It can be used even for the body.
Probably
will give you that a little bit of soapy effect. What we people are commonly requested and interested in, that soapy effect will be given by that.
Probably, I mean, to make it a little pricey and also good for facial skin, sandalwood, saffron, and also our regular Manjista Kedara would be.
Definitely that can be added, but care should be taken while adding to control the price portion of it. You can use, we can make a combination of multiples of things. If you want to make it for a rich elite group, then use sandal powder and even haridra to some extent, manjista, even sariva, chandana, lavancha, that's what called ushira. So there are many of such type of things are there that can be used. For a general, common and regular usage, it is better to use a combination where even little bit of amalaka is added to that, or even directly a little bit of triphala is added to that. That will also going to help for cleansing.
Thank you, sir. And going through a few comments that are coming here. In the northern India, Ayurveda practice, they do not consider tur dal, but they use mung dal. Why this discrepancy? This has already been answered. Probably due to availability and for all practical purposes, mung dal is better. Yeah, it is told. Next question is, traditionally we add little castor oil along with hing, jeera and garlic while cooking to reduce the bloating effect. Is it good to add a little bit of castor oil while cooking? Sir?
That may not be a right way of doing it, because castor oil is very much irritant. Not all the person who consume this will not be having a crura costa. If it is a crura costa, then there will be no issues. Otherwise, if a person is a mrudu costa and madhyama costa, then cooking anything with castor oil definitely is going to cause disturbance in the longer run. So instead of adding aranda taila, any taila of regular type of edible grade oil, it can be used. It will also reduce the rukshata of the dal and all these things, and help to avoid the bloating. And to overcome that bloating only, we have added hing, jeera, lashun, and all these type of things. So these are very, vatahara in nature. That's the reason they are added.
And also while adding spices, we also need to take care about the quantity. I mean, it should not be too much that it causes pitta aggravation together. So.
Definitely, our interest in adding the asafoetida or cumin or garlic into any traditional dishes, it's only to make it more palatable and helps in digestion of the material, which is the main course in that. And if it is considered in that fashion, that will be right. Just simply adding anything which is available, that may not be good.
We need to be like very careful with castor oil intake, especially I mean in children and also who are having mrudu costa and soft bowel, soft intestinal lumen and all. Things can go a little out of hand.
Yes, definitely. It's not a type of oil which should be used as a cooking media and or something like that, or adding something into the cooking material, because that may not be right type of things. Because even a 1 spoon of if it is added to everything may cause for some people, those who are mrudu costa and mild in nature, to 5 to 6 bubbles. So that is not a right way of adding.
And a couple of questions on the powder mix for bathing has come. For a person with very dry and sensitive skin, very much prone to eczema, which is the gentlest dal powder to try out? Basin powder made my skin more rashy and left the skin too much dry.
See, before going for any regular bathing, you try to apply some oil. If some oil is applied, then you use to remove that oil a basin powder or something like this, then definitely it will remove a certain portion of that and it makes the oil presence in the skin. That's what I'm telling. Generally, Ayurveda has also said very clearly in this fashion that we need to go for Abhyanga daily. Abhyanga means it is always applying oil to the body and then taking bath. So instead of simply without applying oil, if you rub anything like this, definitely because you're already a person who is having a sensitive skin, prone for eczema, and there will be dryness. And if you are putting these things, definitely it will cause dryness. Just to apply certain oil like Mahamarichari Taila or something like that, or even simple coconut oil, or even Sarshapa Taila if it is there. Of course, if you are suitable to that, because some people may develop rashes even for Sarshapa Taila. So depending upon your body nature, which supports you and where from which part of the world you belong to, and what is the commonest edible oils they use it in cooking in that places, all these things to be taken care of. Then accordingly a planning can be done. For example, in Kerala, the coconut oil is used extensively. If you go to Tamil Nadu, they use gingerly oil. If you go to Karnataka, then there is a mixed of oils where some portion they'll go for the coconut oil and some portion they go for groundnut oil. And if you go to Gujarat, it's the groundnut oil, and entire northern India it is sarshapatela, that is mustard oil. Like this, different part of the places in the world will have a preferences and their practice and customs of using a certain type of oils that can be accustomed to them. So we need to consider all these things. That's the reason we, while taking a patient history, we go for Prakrutita, Vikritita, then Janmata, from where he has born and where he has brought up and where he got disease, everything we take, because we try to analyze the places and its qualities, its effect on the human body. So everything we consider. So that's the reason. Simply taking anything and applying, definitely it may cause the dryness. So if basin directly causing dryness means you are not applying oil and just going for the powder you are using as a soap. So it is better you apply some oil like coconut oil and such mild oils, and after that you go with the bathing with the basin or even the Mung Dal powder, then definitely it will be good.
It's just an interesting, like, fun topic that you touched there. Like, we Karnataka people, we take like Ano Badra Katoyantu Vishwata, like literally, like we take all the good things from all. Like, we do not have a specific oil. I live in Mangalore, so we have like 6-7 languages here. Everything is welcome. That's why probably even Bangalore is such a international tech hub that we take all cultures and we take the best of them and incorporate. And also like in Ayurvedic sense also, like there is northern style of Ayurveda practice and this Kerala style, and there is some Siddha medicines in Tamil Nadu and all. But we are like absorbers, like we absorb everything best and we incorporate everything.
So definitely, see, Ano Badra Kutava Vishwata, that is the clear literal meaning of that. Choose the best from everything and use it. See, very clearly, applying a oil to the skin. Coconut oil is very good to us. But similarly, if you go to northern India, mustard oil is very good to them. So that is because of their geoclimatic conditions and the atmospheric temperature which is prevailing and the conditions there. So it suits them. So similarly, we need to understand that which is the best for whom and what. Then accordingly, a design has to be planned. There are certain drugs are there which is common to everybody and they are good to everybody, and such it should be accordingly used. Like amalaki. Amalaki is good for everybody. Across India, they use it in a similar fashion.
Probably the choice of massage oils, Eladi Taila, Kumkumadi Taila, Nalpamaradi Taila can be used, but they can be a little costly. So maybe sesame oil, 50% and 50% of that oil can be mixed and tried.
Yeah, that can be done. That can be done to see when your protocol of a treatment you are planning, there should be some tag on the expenses. So there is similar, for example, an operation done by a surgeon in one hospital cost you something like 25,000. The same surgery done by the same surgeon, but in a very corporate hospital, cost you like 1 lakh. So that you should know what type of client you are receiving and what is the capability of the client in paying. Based on that, what best you can select and what best you can give it to the client, that combination has to be prepared. So when your patient criteria is based on those lines, then accordingly plan it, whether it is 50% of this oil and that oil mixing together, whether it is 75%, 25%, totally 100% the same oil. It all depends on the type of the client and the condition.
And also, people have a little bit forgotten like our ancient way of like taking bath. Usually, it was like in the Dinacharya chapters they have explained clearly Abhyanga oil bath and then Udvartana and then Snana and then powder massage and then taking bath. The oil would absorb or melt down all the dirt present on the skin and all the underneath skin tissues, and that would be washed away with the powder applied and the bath taken. And there is no concept of this chemical laden like sodium lauryl sulfate and many pH adjusters and dyes that are used with the soaps. That was not there in the old fashion. Like it's pure herbal powder, very safe.
Yeah, definitely. It was typically the way they narrated. They asked for first Abhyanga with the oils, allow it for half an hour. Then afterwards, whatever the body gets absorbs it and absorbs through the dermal tissues. Then the excess remaining thing has to be removed. How to remove it? The best way to remove is something which is ruksha in nature and which can be absorbent in nature, that should be given. So they are selected such a dravyas like tor dal powder or besan powder or mung dal powder, such a thing. Apply it as a udvartana. So definitely it will improve the circulation by doing the udvartana because it causes a little bit of gharshana or friction. Along with that, it takes away the excess oil present on the skin surface. Once it is done and it gives a smooth touch, then followed by water has been poured onto the body, that mixes with the carbohydrate and the saponins present in that to some extent, that give a leathery or frothy finish and a smooth feeling, and then it is washed off very easily because it's water soluble in nature. So definitely it will remove only the excess oil present on that, but it won't remove the essential oil required for the skin. So that was the idea behind that, why they have narrated in this, the way the process has to be done daily.
And also, I mean, same with the tooth powders also, like we have become so accustomed with the toothpaste. So if we just press it and it comes nicely and it has some clove oil and it gives a little frothing and fragrance, you feel better with the toothpaste, but actual removal of dirt and also the local antimicrobial activities with the neem, licorice, yashimadu, etc., khadira, that is so valuable, sir. Herbal powder versus paste.
Herbal tooth powders were so good. For example, once we had Nanjangud tooth powder, the very famous one in Karnataka, and it was so tasty also, and they made it very beautiful with the use of husk of paddy. with the husk of paddy. They used to prepare it, and that was so nice, and it was giving a very good result also, and even maintaining the dental hygiene and the oral health was also established. But now we have got a lot of toothpaste and everything, but still oral hygiene and health is big question mark.
Yes, sir. And do you recommend any bathing powder like market available brands or tooth powders, sir? Is there any favorite?
In market available, see, one is G32 gum tone. They are good. Actually, they are good. But using them for a long run, of course, it takes certain thing. And as far as availability and usage, even those who are familiar with that paste pattern and that is required, even Patanjali Dantakanti is also doing good, and it is giving result also. It's fine. For herbal bathing powder, we have got one Herbo Fresh from Pentacare. It's a very nice one. And similarly, we have one Dandronil powder, and we have got another one powder in the market. Snana Churna, something like that, it is there. And Siddhartha Snana Churna is also there. That is also good.
Just trying to get the Herbal Fresh on this one because ingredients there. Kadira, Trifla, Ushira, Manjista, Chanaka, that is Bengal gram, turmeric, Bakuchi, very wholesome skin benefiting combination. Yes. So going through a few questions that have come our way. And how about we use a little bit of apple cider vinegar to clean our body after Abhyanga to remove excess oil?
That can be done because its only purpose is to remove oil. So for that we are trying to put something which is sour in nature. That's the reason why our sticky vessels are cleaned by using nimbu, lemon. The same reason here, using an apple cider vinegar that also serves the same purpose, just for the purpose of removing it, the dirt and excess oil. That can be done, no issues. But if it becomes more, then automatically once again it leads to dryness.
And there's a question over like Adhaki versus Mudga. For what Prakriti or Vikriti or season or age would it be more useful to use Tur Dal over green gram?
So it basically depends on the place where you belong to and what is your accustomed nature and what is your regular dal which you are consuming. That all matters here. If you are from a southern India and your regular dal is Adhaki, then it is better to continue with the Adhaki. Only on certain occasions you can go for the Mudga. But when you are in a northern Indian culture and practices and the play, you are born and brought up in northern India, of course, Chanaka is their primary dal, and then later away they also use even Udad dal. They use it in Rajasthan, and even black gram, and even green gram is also used. So it depends on the place where you are brought up, born, and all these things. It matters. Otherwise, if you are straight away from entirely a different type of world where you are not used this and you are exposed to these type of vegetables or when dals for the first time, then you can definitely go for Mung dal as suggested by Acharya because it is Supachya and Lagu Madura in nature. Later on, you can try with all other things like Adhaki and all those things and even Chanaka. In Rajasthan, they prepare very beautifully through this Udad dal. They'll prepare a dal along with chapati to eat. So it is a good one.
It all depends on locality and your accustomed favorite dal rather than, there's not much difference in terms of Rasaguna Virapaka there. And there's a funny comment has come. One of our Ayurveda teachers used the Erinda Taila for pakoda. All of us ended up having bowels. And we need to be careful while. And I mean, your theory Ayurveda will feel very good, like, oh, Erinda Taila balances Vata dosha and all those things. But even on a serious note, while trying the remedy, it's better to go with smaller dose first and also precaution first and then enthusiasm later.
See, it's very clear. If you are suffering from any Vataja Vikara or suffering from constipation, Vibhanga, then you go for a Erinda Taila Pakoda, no problem. You can use it. It will be helpful. Otherwise, for a general population, just like any other pakoda, if you want to prepare it pakoda with erinda tela, then it is going to cause a lot of issues and it's going to cause problems. So it should not be done. Such type of things, it is not all expected and accepted in Ayurveda.
Dr. Gurubodha sir, thank you for the excellent explanation. Definitely, I will apply Abhyanga first as appropriate to my Desha and then only Uttan. Yeah, always Abhyanga first and then Uttan. In a general sense, like who know a little bit of Ayurveda, like Ayurveda medical store owners or who sell herbs, etc. They usually reverse the order. I have seen at least in 2-3 instances. They usually reverse the order of Abhyanga and Swedana. They say that just warm the body up a little and then apply the oil. This will be more useful rather than doing Abhyanga first and then Swedana.
See, once we make Swedana, body starts pouring it outward. Even though it is a track is open, it will not ready to accept in. So it is not all required in that fashion. And that's the reason while we are making, we don't make the person to feel heat first, but we try to give him an oil. And while applying oil, just to make it comfortable, little bit it will be warmed. So that warmth oil present on the surface, skin surface, and applied with a friction, definitely it improves the blood circulation and helps in absorption. So after that, whatever it is they absorbed, it needs to be further carried away to the different levels into the body. For that, we go for this Swedana. And in that process, excessive things will be once again thrown out of the body because the pores will be open up. And after that, if you do little bit of Ubutan or something like that or Udvartana, then it will be helpful in cleaning the things. And the excessive oil which is present on the skin surface will be removed. So it is better to go with Abhyanga first to the body, then followed by Udvartana or even Swedana, then bath.
Yeah, always apply the oil so that the oil is naturally deep penetrating and then it melts the doshas and then extract all the toxins and doshas with Swedana and Udvartana, etc. And another question has come like we use walnut oil and almond oil for skin as those two were available in abundance. So that is also should not be a problem, sir.
It will not be a problem, but it's a question of cost. That will be costlier compared to.
Yeah, and the question is there that other than bloating effects with the dals, some persons, especially Vata Prakriti persons and old aged people, complain pain in the joints on the day of consuming tur dal, increased pain after evening, but it automatically resolves the next day. Is there any way to relieve the issues as we take tur dal most days?
See, definitely, if you observe there, that person one who develops something like this will not be a regular consumer of the tur dal. Yes, suddenly on a fine day he has taken tur dal. It is not that one who is accustomed to that. Those who are accustomed to tur dal will not have any problem because they'll be continuously using that since so many years. Those who are consuming other type of dals and suddenly they change over to this, then there may be something like that. Some Vata Lakshanas will be there. So in order to overcome that, the reason we have we asked you to mix with cumin seeds and even asafoetida and garlic and such type of things, dressing. So that type of things are done just because to improve its digestion process and help in the absorption. So and it won't bring you any Vataja Lakshanas as such.
Do we need to stick only with one type of dal or can we replace it? Like I'm from South India and I'm so used to tur dal, but sometimes I make other dals too. So is it okay?
It will be definitely okay on a routine pattern. You can go on changing all these dals once in a while, but stick on to your main dal continuously. For example, in a week time, on 5 days you keep your regular staple dal, and then other 2 days you can go for the different types of dals. Nothing to worry.
So is it essential to remove the froth when we cook tur dal?
No need to remove that. See, there are two ways of cooking. If it is cooked in a closed container, then it becomes little bit guru. If you cook it in an open container, it becomes lagu comparatively. That depends on your requirement. If you want your diet to be more lighter, then cook it in an open thing. And if you want to do it in a protein supplement or something like that, it is better to cook it in a cooker where it is pressure cooked and it is under a cover.
And there's a question on horse gram. We have covered horse gram a little bit in one of the previous classes. The question is that people in Himalaya use horse gram in plenty, and they say that this is the best dal for people. Can you please talk a little bit of this kulthi dal?
See, very clearly, that's what I said. Everybody is living in a different type of geoclimatic conditions. In Himalaya, it will be a colder region, definitely, and that's the reason they go for kulthi. Kulthi is Ushna in nature. Horse gram is more Ushna, and it is Ayurveda very clearly. Acharya said, Kulatto Amlapitta Janananam. It is a very good one to cause Amlapitta. So, but it may not be true for everybody. Those who are living in a very high altitude with the cold places and during cold times or the winters, definitely you can go for once in a while or regularly also if you are accustomed to that, you can use kulthi. But it is Ushna in nature and causes Amlapitta if it is taken in large doses.
And a very interesting question has come with respect to Sneha, Udvartana, etc. Abhyanga first, only then Udvartana or Swedana, because otherwise body is not accepting the oil. But when the body is a bit cold, as in case of winter or in cold places, when the body is a bit cold to start with, then aren't the srotas are a bit blocked, and warming the body before the applying oil is better than, sir?
See, very simple reason. Body may be cold in cold season. If you make the oil warmer and apply it from the outside surface, you are making it to the oil to enter. And oil has a saraguna, definitely try to enter in. And it, because of its little bit ushnata, or we made it hot, it may gives rise, open the tracks and it enters in. But in case of Swedana, the later effect you observe, if you are giving Swedana first, then even though you are putting a warm thing from outside, but ultimately it makes the body to expel it out. So body will start oozing in out. And something which is coming from inside to outside, then you cannot make the same thing because it's a one-way traffic. On those pores, it cannot go in. So it needs to be in the fashion, first apply a warmer oil to the body, then go for the Abhyanga, Swedana, that is fermentation, and then go for Udvartana, then go for Snana. That is the best method or the best protocol or the sequence which can be done.
We also have like choices of oils. Like, I mean, if it is too cold, probably not a good idea to use coconut oil, which is cold. Rather we would go with like sesame oil or mustard oil. So choices of oil can also be based on the weather and sun.
Definitely, choices of oil can be based on the weather as well as the person's prakriti, nature, everything. Based on that, we can select. If a person is suffering from a lot of pain, it is better to use mustard oil because it is ushna in nature, penetrative, and it also reduces the pain. Whereas if you want to have the lustrousness or the smoothness to the skin, then it is better to use coconut oil. And of course, from where you belongs to which part of the country or which part of the place where they are accustomed to, what type of oils they are using, definitely it has an influence. Based on that criteria only, we need to select the oils. And of course, when it is a disease condition, we even take Yamakasneha, mixing of two oils, and we use it.
And there is a question on Masoor Dhal. So can you please elaborate on Masoor Dhal? I heard my grandma saying Masoor Dhal can cause knee pains. How true is that? And just sharing the Rasaguna, Virapaka, etc. of Masoor Dhal here. Again, a little bit of Vatala will be there as part with almost all lentils, sir?
Yes, definitely. All these lentils will definitely increase the Vata. So that's the reason when you take these things continuously, then it may cause pain in the joints. Vata will increase in the joint and that will leads to pain. So that's the reason when we prepare these dals, we add cumin, jeera, asafoetida, lashun, and these things, we make it as a tadka. So all these things we use it. That's the reason. It will avoid Vata to aggravate. That will not give a scope for that.
Going through this almost say similar to Tur Dal, like there is Kashaya Rasa, astringency, and Grahi, Lagu, Ruksha, Varni, and Balya, so almost everything very similar there. And going to the next question here, if we stick to just one dal year round, that does not lead to any deficiency, or does it? I'm a vegetarian, but avoid dairy because of poor quality available here. So I mean, sticking to only one dal throughout the day, throughout the year is not a problem, sir.
No, why you want to? You can just, that's what I said, in a week, 5 days you take your main dal and 2 days you change it to some other 2 types of dals. Then definitely it will serve the purpose.
It's also good exercise for our body to try different varieties of the some rather than sticking to one. Just a quick sharing of the nutritional value of tur dal. Heavily rich in protein, there are also some minerals, fibers, carbohydrates, calcium, etc. So, and again, going to the next question. There is a tradition before the war, possibly, of war men were fed with urad dal laddu and urad dal vada, fried in mustard oil. We still do it during winters. Ahead of war, urad dal laddu and vada probably to...
See, very simple reason. For a pure vegetarian, Masha is considered as Mamsa, which is equivalent to that. Masha is urad dal or black gram, which is considered as Mamsa, equivalent to the meat for a vegetarian. So that is the reason, and it is Guru in nature, and it is Vatahara because of its, and the person who is going for war requires more energy, something Guru lasts for a long time. So maybe because of all these things, there is a tradition they created, and there's urad dal laddu, something like that, which is given to person who is going for the war, the soldiers.
And also urad dal is usna, and mustard oil is again probably due to the local usage, but it increases pitta and it increases courage, probably, sir.
Definitely, it will also improve the killer instinct.
In what situations one should use herbal oils like Mahanarayana Taila, Ksheerabala Taila instead of plain oils for old people?
Old people?
So in old people, for general massage, using plain oils like sesame oil, coconut oil, almond oil, etc., versus using Mahanarayana Taila or Ksheerabala Taila, where we can use which?
Definitely. See, plain oil is treated or samskarita with these herbs. Definitely they have more qualities and more properties to give in. So that is a better way of general, for the purpose of old age people. If you want to go for Abhyanga, then it is the best choice would be the first and simplest one is the Ksheerabala Taila. If the old person also suffers from pain, then you can add Mahanarayana or Karpura Taila. And if there is a numbness, you can add Mahavishagarbha Taila. So it depends on what nature, what complaint, and for what purpose we are doing it.
Out of all, like if you do not know the underlying complaint and they want to use a universal oil, probably for elderly people, probably Mahanarayana Taila would be that.
Mahanarayana or Ksheerabala would be best.
Profound vata decreasing effects there. Can you suggest Ayurvedic oil for Abhyanga for normal skin, which can be used on a regular basis? So just one oil if you want to pick, which one it would be, sir, for everyone?
That is Ksheerabala. Ksheerabala will be best and simple one. Compared to simple plain oil, Ksheerabala would be good.
And there's an interesting question. For tadka, when using tur dal, ghee base is good or oil base is good?
Definitely ghee is good. In Ayurveda, while explaining the Sneha also, Grita has been placed at the number 1, oil at the next. So definitely Grita will be good.
And there is like two opinions with respect to heating ghee, or for example in Haridra Kanda ghee is used. Some people would right away fry the turmeric with ghee and then add rest of the ingredients and make this one. And some people would use or add ghee nearing to the end of the procedure. And I also seen in some Western Ayurvedic books stating that ghee cooking or boiling for a long time is not so very good. Any opinion on that, sir?
See, very clearly Ayurveda and the Acharyas have said when to use oil and when to use Grita. And while cooking, very clearly they said for how long it should be. And something it should be cooked in ghee means it should be cooked in ghee. We cannot replace it in the other modes. Similarly, When acharyas have said add ghee at the end, in many occasions add honey at the end, they said very clearly in that portion and that pattern only it should be done. And very clearly, ghee should not be eaten, it should be drunk. That's why it is said, Ghritam pibet, it is said. So you need to just melt it down, then only you can use it. You observe that in any feast and all those things, they don't put it in that fashion of something like one bolus. It will be melted ghee and they'll be pouring it while on the plantain leaves when we are sitting for the food. You observe that. That's the reason it should be taken when it is melted.
Probably the reason why they fear heating or cooking with ghee for longer time is it would change the nature. Would you worry about that?
No, it won't change much. What is required to our body, it will remain in that. And our interest in that is to fry, cook the material in ghee. So we are not worried about the ghee there. We are worried about the material which is going to be cooked there.
I also have the same opinion. Like in Grita, Paka and all, if you are using like 10 liters, 20 liters of ghee for making herbal ghees, we'll be like boiling ghee for days together. So that should not be from. And what's your opinion on for elders? So I heard a suggestion from senior doctor for general public using sesame oil, ghee, and castor oil in equal quantity for Abhyanga. They said that it is good for all types of people, like all Prakriti people. Is it a good practice, sir?
See, when you combine two different natured oils together, for example, you are trying to put mustard oil, which is comparatively Ushna in nature, and trying to put sesame oil, it is little bit moderate Ushna in nature, and you are putting Erinda Taila or castor oil, it is comparatively colder in nature. So when you combine all these things and expect that it will be something like Tridoshi Shamaka, everything will be addressed, no issues. But Acharya has very clearly said mixing of fats and oils, they are accepted and they are called as Yamaka Snehas, 1 or 2 or 3 that can be mixed depending upon the requirement. Once you make a combination and just to go on applying the same combination to everybody, that is not right. In Ayurveda, everything has to be customized and tailored driven. It is not the ready-made thing which everybody can go and take it in. Each and every individual is a new one, and each and every individual has to be studied, and accordingly a planning has to be done.
The similar question which we have already answered, probably the last question for the day. For Vata Prakriti persons to take Dhaal, how to make it, what's the proper way to consume? Sir has well clearly said that cook it along with cumin, asafoetida, and garlic. So that would be helpful. And if someone has to gain weight, which oil would be better to use with Dhaal, sir?
To gain weight, it is the quantum of dal what you consume that is required. Otherwise, you can straight away go with the ghee. You cook the things in ghee and consume it, it will be good. But the quantity what you want to take it should be more compared to your regular diet pattern. Then that Agni should be there to digest those dals. That's the thing. Grita is most beneficial and it increases the Agni. You might have seen that when Grita is poured onto the Yajna or Yaga, readily it catches fire. Similarly, it inside the body also, when you take ghee, it is ideal to increase the Agni. So it promotes Agni and in turn, it also helps in digestion. That's the better way. If you want to increase your body weight, go with the ghee. The lentil should be mixed in the boiled or cooked in ghee and consume. And of course, quantity also matters here, Rashi. So how much things you take it. If you are regularly having a habit of taking a half cup of dal, then increase it to 1 cup slowly.
See you in the next class next Sunday with another Gurubodha session. Namaste.